Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. That sudden cutoff of the music can mean only one thing. Actually, can mean two things. One, I still haven't figured out how to fade it out gently while I'm doing the intro, just because I haven't done that yet. And two, it's time for Late Night Dodger Blue Jays Chat. Hello, friends. Good evening. Oh, let me double check. A couple of settings here. I want to make sure we've got just all set up. I think we do. And I think we are off and rolling on a late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. Oh my goodness. We got ourselves a World Series here, people. An actual World Series of baseball teams that are both really good. I know. It's crazy, but if you guys have been listening to me all along, you'd have known the Blue Jays are not to be messed with. They're very, very good at playing the baseball. Let us start with tonight's sponsor, just because I'm a little parched and I think we have to get going on this. Tonight's sponsor, when it's a special night for my girls, we sometimes, and many parents do this, we're not alone in this. I'm not the only one who does this, is what I'm saying. We'll offer a special treat. Like we're out at the pub, and it's a special occasion, a birthday, say, what have you, a anniversary, a graduation, something along those lines, a culmination. We haven't had any graduations yet, but we have had culminations. Don't get me started. And so the question will go out to the table, hey girls, would you like a Shirley Temple tonight? And the answer is always two things. Number one, who is Shirley Temple? And number two, may I have another? Because the first one is always so good. So the fine folks at 7-Up have taken upon themselves, and they are the unofficial sponsor of tonight's stream. Unofficial. Oh, we're going to get to the Blue Jays whooping ass on the Dodgers tonight again. Don't worry. We'll get to that part. But let's talk about the Shirley Temple first, because it is a pomegranate and cherry soda from 7-Up. Pomegranate and cherry, they say right there. Well, listen, 7-Up, I don't know where you got a bulk deal from the Pom Wonderful people or something, but I don't put pomegranate in a Shirley Temple, and I don't much trust those who do. They're city folk with their fancy beverages. We've been doing 7-Up and grenadine for as long as I was whatever. I'm not even committing to the bit. Let's open this bad boy up. Because I was doing a lot of yelling tonight. As you know, I'm a fan of both teams. I literally cannot lose this World Series. And all I have asked for all along is 7 games and extra innings. I've been very clear about the request. 7 games, extra innings, and the Blue Jays to win. And I think we're getting closer to that prediction coming true. Now, I should point out that even though tonight was Game 4 of the World Series, we've already played 5 full games. The Dodgers have a 3-2 lead if you count the second half of Game 3 as its own independent 9-inning structure. But they don't count it that way. And in fact, the series is tied at 2 games apiece, following the Blue Jays' 6-2 demolition of the Dodgers tonight. And it wasn't that close, folks. Not after the 7th, it wasn't. Because Dave Roberts did what Dave Roberts do. And what Dave Roberts do is, I guess, bring in Blake Trinan? Even though I thought we were all very, very clear there was one pitcher that we were trying to have in fewer games. This is an update on the old 85 Dodgers pitching to Jack Clark with Tom Niedenfuer saying there's a pitcher that we need in fewer games. Well, we have a pitcher now that we're trying to not use so much. But it's not working out, and Dave keeps going to him, and Blake brings his gas can, as Jim Rome says, out onto the mound, pours out the gas, sets it on fire, walks off the mound, praises Jesus. I'm not sure, maybe for putting more challenges in his path. I don't know how that works. I'm not a religious expert. I find whatever Holy Spirit there may or may not be probably has very little involvement in most sporting events. Most. Not all. Most. And so what we have here is a Dodger bullpen that exploded on impact tonight. And the impact was made by the Toronto Blue Jays bats, and that was the story of Game 4. Another story of Game 4 that I thought was very interesting. Shohei Ohtani is human? What? Oh my goodness. I think the Ohtani mania was getting a little out of hand, don't you? That being said, Toronto, if I ever catch you saying, we don't need you to Shohei again, knock it off. Everybody needs him. Baseball needs him. The world needs Shohei. He's fantastic. He pitched well tonight. He pitched well. There's no shame in his pitching effort. Was it masterful? Was it 10 strikeout masterful? No. He did well. I wouldn't complain. I thought he did a nice job. Was he tired from being on base 9 times in the game prior? Probably. I mean, you'd think he might be, right? I mean, you or I would be, certainly. Well, I don't know about you, but I know I would be. Near exhausted. Hell, I'm tired right now, and all I did was take the bus home after the game. Ugh. We will have a rant coming up about LA's public transit and access to the stadium. I want to talk about how I got to the game and how I got home from the game and the 2 lessons I learned. I did not take the gondola. A lot of people are like, Colin, did you take the gondola? And my answer was, no, they haven't built it yet. So I did not take the gondola. The gondola. Frank McCourt and his gondola. Come on. What is that? It's nothing. Nothing. Frank McCourt. Anyhow, back to baseball. Wow. What a fun game tonight, huh? What a fun game of baseball. Spirits high at Dodger Stadium. Couple notes about the beginning of the game that I thought were interesting. People are texting. Let's see. Who's texting right now? Yes. Somebody sent fire emojis. Well, I'm live right now, baby, so you can hop on the stream with me and you want to chat. We'll chat right here, right now. Let's start with, we'll save the transportation stuff for later. That's probably one whole segment by itself. Suffice to say, I got there very early. I'd heard all the excuse me. It was a long day. Heard all the horror stories about lines to get into the parking lot, lines to get into the stadium, lines to get into the gift stores, lines to get up to the elevators, the escalators, lines for everything. And the one thing you don't want to do with the World Series is spend your time in lines. To the point where, when it comes to merchandise, I still, to this day, and I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I bet I know what the reason is. But I don't understand why the outside of the merch shop there at Dodger Stadium does not have a giant-ass QR code on it so that you can buy your in-stadium merchandise via web form / Apple Pay and have it delivered to your own house. If you would like to wait in a 2-hour line, that can be arranged. Like, we could do that. That option is available to you, the consumer. But I'm guessing the vast majority of people would be happy to scan the QR code, go to their seats, sit down, and peruse the offerings, which will not sell out, which will have all of the available sizes, all of the available designs available. Wait a minute. This is starting to sound interesting. Now, the reason I think they don't do this probably has to do something with the revenue split on merch at the gift store versus merch through MLBshop.com. And so I'm sure there would have to be some kind of tricky negotiation to allow them to sell stadium-exclusive merch via a special one-time online platform. Maybe a code, maybe, who knows what you could do. Maybe geolocation, you could only place the order if your phone was within Dodger Stadium. There's tech solutions to the problems, I think. But one of the nice things was I used the MLB go-ahead entry program, as I have successfully several times this year, both at Dodger Stadium and at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, where you just show your face and they let you in. This to me seems like the future of ticketing, right? They inspected my small bag, my man bag, and then let me go through. And the security, the security apparatus, the magnetometers or whatever they're called these days, are a lot less obtrusive, and I guess a lot more sensitive to the things that they're looking for, and not so sensitive to the things that they are not. And I'm happy about that because I'm used to getting stopped. I've got some metal parts, right? And so every time I go through the thing, it's excuse me, could you stand over here? Are you wearing a belt? Do you have this? I'm like, no, replace tips, please. Had them for 25 years, 30 years. This is getting old. Well, the new hot stuff in scanning technology does not go off. It has correctly identified my replace tips as no threat to the environs in which I find myself, which is good to know that after all these years. And by the way, they're still hanging in there, people. I had these, as a matter of fact, in a bizarre twist, I had my hips replaced in the last 2 years the Blue Jays won the World Series, 1992 and 1993. And so during recovery, I sat at home and watched the Blue Jays win World Series. That's crazy. That just came to me. I just remembered. Those are the 2 years though that I got them done, and those were the last 2 years the Blue Jays won the World Series. It's good timing. I timed it, so that I would have the holidays off, for recovery. Hip replacement recovery used to be much longer than it is now. Like you could get 3 months off from work, like basically paid. And of course I had insurance because it was the 90s. And they had insurance with jobs then. That was a whole, hot new thing that had been around for a long time that they finally got rid of. And so I timed my surgeries for September-ish so that I would recuperate during the new fall season. I would have all of, October, November, and most of December, and I'd just start again in the new year. And it worked out fantastically. And so my eternal thanks to Anne, oh God, what was her name? Anne Abraham, maybe, the news director at KSBY TV in San Luis Obispo, California, for hiring me to a staff job that allowed me to have that insurance and replace my hips so that they work perfectly well now. Very exciting. Have worked ever since. And now the magnometers don't stop you. You're able to get in. So I was able to get in with the Face ID thing. They have a special lane for MLB go-ahead entry. And the go-ahead entry was right there at the gift store on the reserve level, the big one on the third base side. So I just went right into a loop, bought the pins that I wanted, whatever I was looking for, got them, boom, done, out, 5 minutes. By the time I got out, the line had extended all the way back, like past the, into the reserved level, like way down there. And so I think a lot of people spent, an hour and a half before the game just in line for merch. And who wants to do that at a baseball game? It's ridiculous. I heard also my good friend, America's favorite Phillies fan, TM, Amy Huggins, and my wife suggesting pop-up tents in the parking lots. Yes, this is also an idea, because the idea is that the fans coming to the game have money, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on this. They have money, and the teams want that money. Have money? Want money. This should be as frictionless as possible. But it is not. So, and there are other stands, other merch stands with less stuff set up. And the amount of World Series things that were available was not as much as I thought. It was still most of the regular season stuff with a little bit of playoff stuff thrown in. And of course, you have your division champion shirts and your NL champion shirts. And I'm sure the Dodgers are hoping to add one more to that t-shirt trifecta. But I don't know they're going to be able to. We'll see. Because that is tied 2-2. So anyhow, I'm there very early. The gates open around 2 p.m. for a 5 p.m. start, right? And I'd finished my shopping, and now what's up next? What do? You got 3 hours till game time. Well, there's some Blue Jay fielding practice going on. A guy's hitting grounders. They're taking infield. Some people are taking infield. My thought is everyone still sleeping? You know, that Shohei likes a lot of sleep. I'm sure he was, sacked out somewhere. Do you think he has his own bed at Dodger Stadium somewhere? Like for the naps and stuff? Like a private cubby off the clubhouse or something? I mean, they redid the clubhouses in this offseason, like going into the 2025 campaign. So they could have just built him his own domain, if he's going to be here 10 years. And he will be, thanks, Angels, for being one of the worst run teams in baseball history. So anyhow, Shohei got his nap, and I decided to go down to the lower level, the field level, where you can do some, sightseeing is basically all it was. Because, there's not too much to do. I didn't, and it was hot. I don't know if you can tell, I got a little color today, maybe. It was hot out there. It was 90 degrees, and high 80s at minimum, and so we were ready for some shade, and there were some shaded areas. And if you walked the inner kind of horseshoe around home plate, you would be in shade the entire time. And, as we got to, 3 o'clock and 3:30, it got, bustlier and bustlier. And, I saw Oral Hershiser, which was very good. And he was down at the Sportsnet LA table getting ready. And, people were shouting, "Hey, Bulldog. Hey, Oral, we love you," et cetera, et cetera. It was good. I felt like I'd checked the box of see a Dodger legend while you're there. So saw Oral. Not super thrilling. He's on the broadcasts all the time and stuff. It wasn't like, oh my God, they brought back Oral Hershiser. Especially when it got to be first pitch time, about which more we will speak shortly. That's 2 teases, by the way. First pitch and transportation options. Don't worry, we're going to get to all these things. And by the way, I want to hear what you think, too, about the game, the series, whatever. The chat lines are open, people, and I'm keeping a close eye on it. If you want to chime in with a little something, please let me know how you're feeling about the series, how you're feeling about the Dodgers, how you're feeling about the Blue Jays. Let's talk about what we're seeing on the field as well. But in the meantime, I'll continue to give you some World Series color. So I walked the bottom loop, just kind of get the feel of the place, see how it was going. A lot of excitement, a lot of hustle and bustle. Long lines for some things, no lines for other things. You'd see 30 people in line for a food stand right here, and then 2 doors down was a place selling basically the same stuff. No line, walk up. As always at Dodger Stadium, you have to be very careful when you go to buy your Dodger dogs. And if you're not a longtime Dodger Stadium goer, attendee, aficionado, you may not know this, but there is a difference in how the Dodger dogs are prepared in certain areas of the stadium. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole Farmer John versus Farmer whoever they have doing it right now debate. That ship has sailed. The farmer in the deli is gone, and he's not coming back. So whatever for Dodger dogs. Now you're left with just 2 choices here. Boiled or grilled. And if it does not say Dodger Dog Grilled on the little menu board, you're getting a boiled hot dog. Now, if I want a boiled hot dog, I'll bring a pot of water and boil it myself. You better put that hot dog on a grill, my friend. You got to grill it up, okay? I didn't come to Dodger Stadium for boiled hot dogs. It's not the minor leagues here. This is Dodger Stadium, one of the crown jewels of baseball. You grill my dog. Grill my dog. So then, it was getting to be a little later. I did stop and get a grilled Dodger dog. There's a place. About 1 out of every 3 places have grilled as opposed to boiled. Just look for grilled. This is advice if you're going to game 5 or advice if you're going next year. Evergreen advice. Get the grilled. So I continued the loop, did the whole loop, saw some more merch stands, people, trying to find pins, unable to find stuff, looking for this, can't find that. A lot of World Series programs on sale. Now, I will say that the World Series program I did want to get, but I didn't want to haul it around with me all day. So I had previously, ahead of time, ordered that one from MLBshop.com. So a copy of the World Series program will be coming at some point, but I don't need to worry about it. So that part was good. The problem is not everything that's on sale at the stadium is available on MLBshop.com. Just make sure everything in the stadium has a UPC or a QR or a code or whatever that corresponds to a listing online. We'll be fine. I can get everything I want. That'd be great. Pins, I collect the pins. And yesterday there was a lot of people swooping in, grabbing giant handfuls of pins out of buckets, I was told by people who were there. And then you'd see a listing on eBay at 4 p.m. for a 5 o'clock start. Somebody has already got 20 Dodger Blue Jay pins up for sale. And apparently there were no limits on how many people could buy. And they sold out pretty quickly. So they did have a daily allocation, as often happens at these things. So I did book it on over. That's another good thing about the express entry, the go-ahead entry, was being able to get my pins. And I was able to get one of each one, which made me very happy. Just because I like pins, pin collector. So anyhow, it was time to go back up. Now, my ticket, and thank you to everyone who made that ticket possible. My ticket was located in the topmost deck. But it did have the advantage of being located behind home plate, which is a great view. It's where I like to sit. And so the question became, how do you get from the field level to the top deck before game time? And the answer is you go to one of the edges of the bottom, the field level, and they've got these beautiful new elevators that they've installed during one of the renovations a couple years ago, I think. 2 elevators on each side, 2 elevators down the left field line, 2 elevators down the right field line. Take those up to the reserve deck, book over to the backside where there's some escalators up to the top, and boom, you're good to go. So super easy. One of the elevators was broken. One of the 2 elevators at my elevator station was broken for Game 4 of the World Series. I'm not saying this caused a massive traffic delay, and it took me about 45 minutes to just get through the elevator line, but it made me very glad I had come as early as I did, because that's early, that's crazy. And so when we were still in line for the working elevator down the right field line, elevator repair guys came and said, "Hey, what's going on with this other elevator?" We were like, "You tell us." "Well, how long's it not been working?" And I said, "Well, I came down in the working elevator about an hour or so ago, and the lady told me then that it was just one running today." And then the lady also told me, and this was, I don't want to get her in trouble, but she kept telling people, "I'll be right back. I'll be right back." But she did not really pack people into the elevator. She's going a little light on the amount of people in the elevator. It's okay, fine. As long as it keeps running. Well, all of a sudden it just stopped on the 5th floor, which is like a between floor or something, for like 15 minutes. And we're all like, now is this one broken too? Like, do we need to go make other plans? How are we going to get up to our seats? What is going on here? She finally started running. The elevator started running again. And we said, "Hey, is everything okay?" She said, "Oh yeah, I had to go to the bathroom." Well, glad you didn't do it in the elevator. I can tell you that much. But yeah. Question. Did they have any, could somebody swap out for you for those 4 elevator runs that could have been made during that time, given that the other elevator there was out of service and presumably had someone assigned to run it? Should there not now be 2 employees available for, 2 employees available for the one shaft that is currently functioning? And by the way, if you've ever only had one shaft currently functioning, wait a minute. This is, what time is it? 12:30? Well, this is late night. And so we were a little astonished by that, but, oh no, we're really short-staffed for Game 4 of the World Series. Sure. 2 games left, today and tomorrow. But sure, don't bring in everybody today. Please just let me run the world. I'll just fix everything. The merch, the elevators, the Dodgers bullpen. I can fix it all. I promise. Just let me run everything. And so we finally made it back up to the reserve level. I was able to stop. And I stopped by the King's Hawaiian barbecue pork area. And I got the burn ends sliders, continuing my theme of great barbecue at baseball stadiums this summer. Thank you again to Molly Knight of The Long Game on Substack and author of The Best Team Money Can Buy, a definitive history of the earlier decade version of the Dodgers. And she'd given me, reached out to her contacts and got me some great Kansas City barbecue recommendations, which turned out to be fantastic. So I wanted to cap off the 2025 baseball year with more barbecue. So I had the barbecue bird end sliders and another Dodger dog because it was grilled. And if it's grilled, you buy it. If it was boiled, I would not have bought it. Simple as that. By the way, thank you for joining us. I see some people out there on the Twitch. I hope you're getting a taste of the stream and like what it's about. I'm giving you a kind of a personal experience of how I experienced Game 4 of the World Series tonight. If you got any questions about what it was like to be there tonight as the Dodgers and Blue Jays battled, please drop them in the chat. I'm keeping a close eye on it. Happy to talk with you about anything you want to know. And so I made it back up to the top deck and then got loaded into my seat. Now it's about 4:15, 4:20. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this is the World Series. I'm sure there's going to be a little extra pageantry and majesty before the, before the World Series begins. And there was a lot of towel-waving coaching, of course, from the Dodger Blue crew, who gave us our towels to wave whenever TV was on, and many times when TV was not. Who among us does not enjoy a good towel wave? Oh, by the way, speaking of the wave, there was not a World Series wave tonight. This is the first time I've been at a Dodger game there was not a wave. The wave is canceled for World Series, apparently. I have never seen that. I've never seen a Dodgers game. I've been to 100 plus Dodger, hundreds probably. I'm a season ticket holder for a couple of years. Lots of Dodger games. Very, very, very rarely do we avoid the wave. Did not get a wave tonight. Portentous? I'm not saying correlation is causation, but Dodgers might have just waved bye-bye to their title chances tonight, so who knows? So anyhow, yeah, so I'm thinking, okay, there's going to be something, right? I'm going to keep an eye on the sky. Maybe there's going to be a flyover. They had like a squadron of, what was it, P-51s or something yesterday? I don't know. Looked like little prop planes of some kind from a previous war. Maybe, maybe today we'll get the B-2 strategic bomber. Always impressive when it flies over the World Series, right? You go, oh my God, look, we have a stealth bomber. There it is. Wow. Or, an F-15 or a, jet flyover or something. Because of course there is the paid patriotic military hero of the game brought to you by U.S. Army, who pay the Dodgers to highlight a military hero of the game. Fine. But it should be identified as a paid promotional opportunity, not as a spontaneous outpouring of Dodger patriotism. Long, different story. Don't need to get into it tonight. Look it up. Paid Patriotism, I think, was the name of the article that kind of got in deep to that whole thing. And so I thought, okay, well, there'll be some things. So I better go to the restroom. Last time, God knows if we get another 18-inning game or extra innings or something, I want to make sure that we are prepared from a bladder perspective. Important. And so I ran up, used the restroom, came back, hit my seat about 4:45, and I'm like, okay, here we go. What are we doing? Lineups, something? Guys, the pregame was really no different than a regular season game. And in the amount of miffed that I would say not none. I was a little miffed because I thought it's the World Series. Can't we do something special here? I know they're not going to do the whole, and here are the trainers, the coaches, everyone go out to the baseline, et cetera thing. I know they're not going to do that for the second home game of a World Series, but you got to do more than just, literally, here's Capital One guy to throw out the first pitch. Capital One guy. And by the way, that's how they'd build him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Capital One guy to throw out tonight's ceremonial first pitch. Or honorary first pitch. Maybe there's two different first pitches because there's two different first pitches. There's two different sponsorship opportunities. So why wouldn't there be? So there's the early first pitch, which tonight, as previously noted, was Capital One guy. That's something. That's a choice. And then there was the actual first pitch was thrown out by the Bulldog all the way from the announcer booth upstairs, Oral Hershiser, which, by the way, getting to the field from the announcing booth upstairs would be quite the challenge. And to get back before the game started, if he was announcing, I don't think he was tonight. I think he was on Sportsnet LA. The TV, pre and post game shows would be quite the challenge. That would take a miracle of some kind. But he, we dug deep into Dodger World Series history, and we have a guy who's going to be here anyway is our special guest. Come on. The Dodgers have legends of the World Series. How about some other members of that 81 team? Not willing to pay the plane fare for Steve Sachs or Pedro Guerrero or Steve Yeager or, Bert Hooton, Jerry Royce, I don't know, somebody. But they got Oral, and that's fine, I suppose. But I would have liked to have seen more there. It's a franchise with such history. Are there any living Brooklyn Dodgers? Yes, one was at the game, Sandy Koufax. And I'm sure they can't ask Sandy to do everything every time because he's already Sandy, and that's plenty. He doesn't have to do anything else. But he's got to have some teammates that are still around, right? Somebody who played in the 55, 59, 63, or 65 World Series that the Dodgers won. It'd be great. But yeah, so there was that. Then there was, ladies and gentlemen, the ceremonial first ball delivery. Okay, so now there's a ceremony for someone to take the ball out and put it on the mound. It's so-and-so from the Boys and Girls Club, joined by Dodger legend and failed senatorial candidate Steve Garvey. Well, again, I know I just made a big plea for more Dodger history, but this is not exactly what I had in mind. Now, if it was Steve Garvey with one of his kids, or all of his kids, that's something. Now you've got something. Steve Garvey and one girl from the Boys and Girls Club, that's nothing. Except for this is the first ball delivery, and they both go out there with a ball. Now, wait a minute. So what happens to, if I may be so blunt, at 40 in the morning, whatever becomes of Steve's ball? I don't know, because XYZ from the girls club puts her ball down on the mound and turns around and waves to the crowd and et cetera, et cetera. And then her and Steve, walk off. And I guess Steve is still holding his ball. So now, wait a minute. You're telling me you had a first ball delivery of 2 balls. Now we got to be really careful. And they left one on the mound, and Steve Garvey held his ball as he took it off the mound. All right, fine. I'm fine with all of this. And when Shohei gets out there, I'm sorry, what? What's happening? Okay. The stage has been cleared a little bit, and now one of the bat boys goes out there to the mound where XYZ of the girls club has just delivered the game ball. He freaking replaces it with a different ball. What? Now, I don't mind a little theatricality in my pregame presentation. However, if you tell me that XYZ of the Boys and Girls Club and failed senatorial candidate Steve Garvey are jointly delivering one of 2 balls to the mound, and that is the game ball, and then not 5 minutes later, a bat boy goes out there, picks up the ball she delivered, throws it over to a PR flack, and puts a different ball on the mound, then what was the point of the first thing? It was obviously not practical. They weren't actually putting out the game ball. They just wanted to say they were. Don't lie to people. You don't have to do that. Make it something different. Just say, or have her deliver 2 balls to the umpire's pouch. Please. We're all adults. Knock it off. Have her take 2 balls out to the umpire or something, or Steve's ball can go to the umpire or something, and then he could just put it into the pouch or into his pocket, and then later it either gets thrown into the game or thrown out or whatever. I mean, does she get the ball back as a souvenir of, oh, this is the ball that I placed on the mound at Dodger Stadium before Game 4 of the World Series and was retrieved for me by a bat boy 5 minutes later? Did Shohei touch it? No. Did it see any game action? No. Was it a game-ready ball? Was this one of the 280 balls they get ready for a game, as we found out in the 18-inning game the other day? Who knows? Maybe she put out a faux ball. Maybe it was not a ball that was ready to be used in a game, and they had to get it out of there. Or maybe they discovered she had taken the wrong ball, and that's why the bat boy had to go out and surreptitiously switch it for an actual MLB authentic ball. I don't know. There should not be conspiracy theories surrounding the honorary placing of the ball. That's all I have to say about that. So they sing "O Canada." Beautiful. And they sing the Star-Spangled Banner. Beautiful. But there's just like a color guard standing out in the deep outfield. They're not at home plate. There's no big flag in the center of the field, majestically waving or anything. It just, it felt underproduced. Right? And I thought, okay, well, we're getting to the end of the song. I got to keep an eye on the sky here because who knows what's going to come zooming overhead for a dramatic, no, nothing. It's an LAPD chopper. I don't think that was the flyover we were hoping for. Blue Steel 1 flying overhead. And then it was time for Dodger baseball. Another thing they don't do at the World Series that they do all the regular season is kids take the field. Why can't the kids take the field in the World Series? They run out, they get a signature. Dieter Ruhl plays the theme from Peanuts. We all, Linus and Lucy, we all enjoy the madcap adventures of a 6-year-old getting lost between right field and the third base dugout, making a detour towards Freddie Freeman or, something. It's actually quite adorable and an unforgettable experience for those kids. No, kids may not take the field during the World Series. This is serious stuff. This is baseball, serious version. It doesn't have to be serious. But the teams look like they're having a great time. They're laughing and joking and, a lot of them are friends. Teoscar and Vladdy are like best friends, allegedly. Very good friends at minimum. Not really ranking their various friendships. I don't know who's the best friend or not. But yeah. So you let the kids take the field. Why don't you just let the kids take the field? The kids take the field all year, and it's not a problem. If you're going to treat this just like a regular season game, then let the kids take the. All right, whatever. So and then the game began, and it was as I kind of had thought it might be, much more like a regular season game than I anticipated. Now, this of course does not apply to Game 3. The first home game for the Dodgers of the World Series, where there was pomp, there was circumstance, there were bands, there were parades, there was 76 trombones, there was a American flag the size of Kansas, whatever. We just didn't have any of that tonight. They just got down to baseball. And when they got down to baseball, the baseball was good. Good baseball. Dodgers scored first. And Vladdy touched up Shohei for a homer, which is always exciting. I had to explain to the people in my section I'm a fan of both teams, so I can't lose, but I will just root for whoever is batting. So I would root for Vladdy. I would root for OHTANI. I would root for Mookie, who got a good hit tonight. Freddie, Bo, Bichette, Ernie Clement. Always exciting to watch Ernie Clement play baseball. Addison Barger had a couple of key hits, at least one. And it was fun. It was a fun game. 6-1 Dodgers going to the ninth, and then they got a run across on a ground out, and it just, like I said, it was not close. After the seventh inning, it just did not feel close. And so I'm interested to dive in, in the aftermath into some of the decision-making, why Dave seems locked into a death spiral with Blake Trinan. He just can't avoid him. He can't quit Blake Trinan. Nobody knows why. Is it coming from the front office? I don't know. Is it just he's more comfortable with Blake than with Enrique Hernandez or Hernandez Enriquez? I'm so sorry. It's late. It's now 12:49. I've lost the ability to remember the names of the AAA relievers the Dodgers brought up to fill in the bullpen. My apologies. Banda, is good occasionally, but got into some trouble tonight. And Trinan was not the answer, as he rarely is. And so why? The question remains, why? Why must we continue to have Blake Trinan? Nobody knows. Let's see. And then the game ended at a reasonable hour, 8-ish, which was very lovely. I'm sure everyone was just sacked out from last night still. I stayed. I took some photos, from the top deck, but with the iPhone 17 Pro Plus or whatever, you can get Pro Max. You can get a pretty good zoom. I got a nice shot of Vladdy and Hazel May chatting in the aftermath. Tried to grab some of the players during the game. Just some fun little things to remember being there for the World Series. And that was about it. And then it was time to go home. So let's use this to transition into the transportation portion of the evening. Still willing to talk baseball. I see people watching on Twitch. So far, not being able to engage in chat. Fine. If you don't want to chat, don't. But if you do want to chat, I would love to talk baseball with you. So feel free to just drop a little something in there. We'll discuss Blake Trinan. Why? We'll discuss Louis Varland. Came up big tonight for the Blue Jays. Didn't have to face Shohei in the ninth. Good call. Transportation. All right, gates open at 2. I want to get there at about 1:45. I look at my options. There is, I feel like my hat is on sideways here, and I don't know what to do about it. Whatever. Maybe the headset or something is messing it up. I look at my options and I think, okay, here's what I got. The one thing I don't have is a car. We've recently switched to becoming a one-car family. And, it's a weekday and, kids still have to be places and picked up and taken and, et cetera. So my sainted wife was going to have the car. So I looked into Ubering. I looked into taking the public transit, taxi, all the very various different things. It turns out by the, just in terms of like being able to get there at the time that I wanted to be there, that Ubering was kind of the best solution, I think. And they have it set up now so that you go through gate B, which the former Scott Avenue entrance, a great entrance to use, which may be back into general service. I don't know if they've reopened that up full time or if it was just open for the playoffs, or I know it was closed for several years due to NIMBYism, the dreaded NIMBYism. People living in the neighborhood of Dodger Stadium upset that stadium traffic was also in the neighborhood of Dodger Stadium. Imagine the shock when you bought that house and discovered, why, there's a Major League Baseball stadium right over that hill. Oh my goodness. Well, I can't have cars going through this neighborhood. Yeah, you're going to have to. Cars have to go through every area to get to the stadium because it takes 56,000 people, so they built it with openings. There are gates. We would like to use them. So anyhow, the situation with the Uber was the guy guy was great. He worked hard. We found a way to like wind up to kind of where gate B was, and he was able to get me onto the property before 2 p.m. Perfect. Great. The parking gates open at 2. The stadium gates didn't open till, I don't know, 2:30, 2:40, 2:30, I guess. Maybe a little earlier. But so anyhow, you dropped me off there in the Uber lot, and I was able to get a lift on the shuttle service offered for Uber passengers who get dropped off in lot 1. And they buzzed me right up to the go-ahead entry lane up there on the reserve level, third base side. And boom, that was it. Super easy. A little pricey. A little more pricey. It would cost me a little bit more than a parking pass would have. But for the convenience and the accessibility and the, not having to, sit in traffic myself and stuff, I was very happy with the deal. I was very happy with giving Uber the money and very happy they were able to get me very close to my destination. So that was great. Post-game was a different story. Post-game, I said, well, I can't take a $150 Uber back home. That's not going to work. And the, surge pricing and craziness was in effect and stuff. So I was like, no, there is a way to get home. And that way is the so-called Dodger Stadium Express, which is basically a repurposed city bus that kind of comes up. Hi, the London tunnels. Good to see you. I'm a fan of your tunnels. There's a city bus you can take, and it's free, and it takes you between Dodger Stadium and Union Station, the big main transit hub right there in the beautiful heart of downtown LA. A marvelous Art Deco, train station of just top quality, one of America's best. And so I got in line for the bus after the game. After the game, I hung around for a long time, basically until such time as the security guard said, okay, you got to go. Because, it's the World Series. And you want to see as much of it as you can. So I hung out. And then I got in line. It took about 25 minutes for a bus to come because I think I had missed the first round of departures, right? And I think I was told there were only 5 city buses running on this circuit, which seems like too few to me. I'd probably like to see at least 8 to 10. Probably could have handled the load a lot better. The load balancing was not great from a transit standpoint because there was a long wait and then crowded buses. As opposed to just bus, You missed one, you'll grab the next. It's not a problem. There's always a bus there. No, once the buses left on round one, they had to complete round one, which was a 25-minute trip to Union Station, and then get back to the stadium, which is another 25 or 30 minutes. So basically an hour round trip for the bus, but that means you're waiting at minimum 30 minutes for the next bus. So I waited, well, not at minimum. You could technically, I suppose, luck out and come like right before the bus gets there, but the odds are you're going to be waiting for the bus. And I was for almost a half hour. And then it took another half hour to get the 1.6 miles from Dodger Stadium down to Union Station. Not the best in terms of transit mile per hour, but was what it was. I got onto the B line, formerly the Red Line here in Los Angeles, the subway line, to come back to the Valley and get off at North Hollywood, which I did. My streak continues uninterrupted of seeing both someone mentally disturbed causing an uncomfortable situation and a ill-timed escalator failure, which makes it impossible for me not to end up going up a bunch of steps that I desperately are trying to avoid. And if you'd told me ahead of time, I would have just taken the elevator because the elevator was working. But now I'm halfway up and the escalator is out yet again. Every time I go to a metro station, every single time, there are two things I can count on. At some point in my journey, an escalator will be not working. And at some point in my journey, I will be either accosted or within earshot of someone else being harassed, intimidated, or being asked to deal with delicate mental health situations that most people are not qualified to deal with. To be honest, I know a lot of people are in crisis. I don't know why they're all on the LA subway. I don't know why the two guys who are like security guys for Metro stood there and watched this guy almost get into a fight with another guy over cigarettes or something and didn't do anything. And they're wearing their Metro security uniforms and stuff. It's like, guys, this is what we want you here for. You got to go stop this stuff because everyone just feels, terrible. Grandpa Gene's in. Hi, Gene. Go to bed, Gene. An uninterrupted streak of continued uncomfortable situations on the LA Metro. Unbelievable how that works. And then finally, the final part of my journey was going to be on the G line, formerly the Orange Line, bus line. Hello, Gene. Good to see you. That was an interesting experience because I got in line for it I got up there at like 10:30 and the buses are running every 20 minutes. Next one, 10:40. Okay, great. I can wait 10 minutes and then take the G line to my stop in the, over in the Mid-Valley here. And the 10:40 bus comes and goes, or the time for the 10:40 bus comes and goes, but no 10:40 bus comes. And certainly no 10:40 bus goes. And so it becomes 10:45 and then 10:50, then 10:55. And I'm like, well, what happened to the 10:40 bus? Did it just evaporate? Is it out of service? Was there an announcement? Usually on the Orange Line, I've noticed, the former Orange Line, now the G Line, I've noticed, the displays say next bus in X minutes. Tonight they were just displaying timetable. They did not have a guarantee of like, hey, don't worry, it's going to be here in 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. It was just like, there's supposed to be a bus at 10:40. We don't know what happened. And all of a sudden, the display board now is showing the next bus is the 11 o'clock bus. And I'm like, whoa. What happened to the 10:40 bus? Erased from existence, as Dr. Emmett Brown said in Back to the Future. Gene, how about them Dodgers? How about that Dodger bullpen? What do you think? So I had to wait for the 11 o'clock bus. So that was an extra 30 minutes. And grand total, from the time I tried to leave Dodger Stadium to the time I got home, it was 2 hours, 30 minutes on public transportation. And I live 13 miles from the stadium. So that's a little less than an average of 6 miles an hour. I'm not good at math at 1 a.m. It was about 6.5 miles an hour. It was about what I averaged on the entirety of my public transit trip. Why don't people take more public transit in LA? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it sucks. And I try. I promise you, people, I try to be a good public transit user. But it just don't work. And I don't know that it's fixable. I'm not in charge of that, but going back to an earlier point that, Gene, maybe you missed, if I was in charge of it, I would fix it. And the solution would include a gondola. The Frank McCourt gondola. Why? Just a dumb idea. A dumb guy. Ugh. Bankrupted the team. Bankrupted the Dodgers. How do you bankrupt the Dodgers? How bad a manager of businesses do you have to be to take one of the all-time great franchises in Major League Baseball history and run them into bankruptcy? So it will come as a surprise to no one that I believe he's up for a job in the Trump administration. So that was game 4. Now, we talked a little bit about the on-the-field stuff. On the field, the Blue Jays did what the Blue Jays do: peck, 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 wait, and then jump. And the Dodgers weren't unable to get to Blue Jay pitching tonight. And their own starter was definitely mid-grade, B minus, B. And then when we got to the Dodger bullpen, I believe last heard in perhaps Edgewood, New Jersey, oh, the humanity. Oh, the humanity. Is that Edgewood? Is that where the Hindenburg crashed? I don't know why. Maybe I can't remember exactly where the airfield was. But yeah, it didn't go well again for Dave's bullpen. And so the series is all tied up 2-2. And we are definitely going back to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, to go see to go have a game 6, go see a game 6. Oh my God, can you imagine? I'm available, by the way. If someone would like to send me to Toronto, I'll go. Look, I'll do it. I've got a passport and everything. So book me, But if that does not come to pass, then perhaps you and I shall continue our post-game meetups. And without the 2.5-hour transit delay, they will be a little more adjacent to the actual game for games 5 and 6 and 7, if necessary. Now, we won't know if 7 is necessary until the end of game 6. No one can win the World Series tomorrow. Someone could win the World Series on Friday, but we could get Colin's wish of 7 games. It's a best of 3 now between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And it's the perfect encapsulation of the whole saying, the old saying, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And tonight, the Blue Jays beat the best. Now it's 2-2, and we shall see what happens next. Tomorrow's starting pitchers. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Trey Savage, I believe, is going for the Blue Jays, and he'll be opposed by Blake Snell of the Dodgers. Now, Snell has been very good, except for in game 1 of this series, where he kind of got roughed around a little. Are we going to get back to Magic Snell, which I think is something you put on top of ice cream? Or are we going to get like okay Snell? Or are we going to get superhuman Snell? You just don't know. And if the Blue Jays have, I think tonight's victory gives them confidence that they could absorb the defeat that they absorbed the other night and bounce back. People, oh my God, the Fox postgame show. Well, this is going to be really crushing for the Blue Jays. They're, Poppy, you remember, we'd play these giant games against each other, and then somebody would win, and it would be like, oh, well, the series is over. No, not these Blue Jays. These Canadian scrappers, these short kings, as Molly Knight calls them, they just did not, they're not that. They're not down on themselves. They're missing one of their most productive hitters as a leadoff guy, and one of their other most productive hitters is running on one leg, and they're like, great, let's do this. Let's keep going, because someone is going to get a hit, whether it's Addison Barger, whether it's Vladdy, whether it's Ernie Clement, whether it's Davis, no relation, Schneider, whether it's even Joey freaking Loperfido. I don't think he made the World Series roster. And depending on how Georgie Porgy's side feels, maybe Joey Lowe should have a bat on hot standby. Joe Lowe. Sorry, not Joey Lowe. That's just a bad nicknaming. Joe Lowe. Joey Loperfido. Know Your Blue Jays. A nice feature that we've debuted this morning at 1:07 a.m. And so, yeah, it was just a really, really once-in-a-lifetime fun opportunity for me to see my two favorite teams of all time in a competitive World Series. I was thinking a lot about the two games I went to between the Dodgers and Blue Jays earlier this year. Saturday night was a Dodger blowout. It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. And Friday I didn't go. Saturday was a Dodger blowout. And Sunday looked like the Dodgers were going to sweep the weekend series when ONG, and I see your question. We'll get to it in a sec. It looked like the Dodgers were going to sweep the weekend series, but all of a sudden we had a bullpen meltdown situation. Davis Schneider hit a homer, I believe. No, Ernie Clement hit a homer. Vladdy hit a homer. And then all of a sudden the Blue Jays ended up winning that game that they were probably going to lose. And that turned out to be home field advantage in the World Series. If the Dodgers had held on to win that game, which they led late, they would have had home field in the World Series versus the Blue Jays. But they do not, because the bullpen coughed it up in August or July, late July, I think it was. And, it just goes to show you the regular season so long. It's such a grind. You lose a game, it's no big deal. Yeah, actually, every game is a big deal. That random Sunday afternoon game where the Dodgers kind of pissed away a victory. They would have had a tied record with the Blue Jays. And of course, having swept the Blue Jays in the season series, then they would have had home field in the World Series. But as it turned out, the Blue Jays finished one game ahead of the Dodgers, so no tiebreaker was needed. And now a Game 6 and maybe a Game 7 will be played in Toronto. Gene, I'm getting the glasses for this one. Hey, who would be the starters for Game 6? Well, I think you're back to your Game 2 starters at that point. So Game 6, you're looking at Kevin Gausman for the Toronto Blue Jays and Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the Dodgers, which would probably be pretty good. He seems good. I saw him warming up before the game today, just his regular warm-up routine, just like day off work stuff. And it was just fascinating to watch. A fascinating guy. Love him. But he was, just the long toss that these guys do pregame, it's on a rope. They throw the ball. This has always struck me about the difference between like major league pitchers or major league players and any other league below it players in terms of like non-professional. Like I played a lot in little league in high school, freshman year of high school, 9th grade. It was junior high. It was not at the high school. It was 9th grade, just for ease of simplicity of explaining the, at that time, unique San Luis Obispo school system. I sometimes just say, well, I played up till my freshman year, my 9th grade year, but I was not a freshman. I was a ninth grader at a 789 junior high. So regardless, what the pros develop is the ability to throw the ball on a very low angle and have it continue to go straight because of the strength of their arms for very, very, very long distances. Straight and fast, very long distances. I got to be throwing, arcs, like really hard, high arcs to get a ball to go as far as a pro can just snap it and it just goes like on a line. And Yamamoto throwing out there for fun today was like, whew, boy can throw. My understanding is he does arm exercises by throwing javelins. And my question is, how many clubhouse boys or bat boys have been lost trying to catch the javelins when he throws them? An investigation certainly seems warranted. Or at least they got to go fetch the javelins at minimum. I mean, even if they're not in the hypothetical landing area of a javelin. Okay, he's going to throw the javelins now. Clear out. Wave off. Clear out right field. He's going to toss some javelins. Okay. But can you argue with the success the man is having? Back-to-back complete games in the postseason? Looking very good. So he would be the Dodgers Game 6 starter, and Gausman would be going for the Blue Jays. That's my Buck Martinez tribute, the announcer of the Blue Jays, who always references Kevin Gausman is going to be on the mound. He's got a very pronounced accent. It's not Canadian. Nobody knows really what it is. It's Buck Martinezian is what it is. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to Game 5. Will not be there tomorrow unless a miracle happens. But, I can't wait to see it. It looks like it's going to be really fun. And then Game 6, and of course tonight I was sitting with all Dodger fans, mostly up there in the top deck. A lot of Blue Jay fans made the trip, and, a lot of Blue Jay jerseys and things were in the crowd, which was nice to see. And they're all very positive, and, the Dodger fans were very welcoming and positive about it. And, your team wins a game, and everyone around my team wins a game, and everyone around me was very sad because in this case, my team was the Blue Jays, not my team, the Dodgers. And so I turned to the people next to me and I was like, guys, it's a really, really good World Series. I didn't know what to tell them. I felt like consoling them a little bit, even though I had been cheering for Dodger offense because I bleed Dodger blue and always will. But in this specific instance, my other team, Toronto, I wanted to see them even up the series. And it was really fun to be there tonight to see that. Again, as I said, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I want to thank everyone who moved heaven and earth to make it happen. And I was just super duper happy. Now, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, maybe Thursday, maybe sometime I'll whip up a little slideshow or something of some of the photos and videos I was able to take out at the stadium. We'll get a look at that. And have a little more World Series color. But if that's all we have in terms of questions, etc., I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's been a very late night. Not thanks to the game, but thanks to the failings of Los Angeles public transit, which is what it is. I gave it a roll, tried my best, and got my 6 miles an hour trip home. So that's it for tonight. The series is tied, folks, 2-2. Hold the parade planning in Los Angeles. Don't start planning the parade yet in Toronto. Let's see how Game 3 goes. Let's see if the Blue Jays can continue to get to the Dodger bullpen, which is obviously the key to their success, I think. Let's see if Blake Snell comes out as Super Blake tomorrow night. Let's see if the rookie, Trey Savage, getting a critical road World Series start as opposed to the kind of home playoff starts he's had before. Let's see how the rookie handles the road. This is under 10 major league starts for this kid. Fewer than 10. Playoffs included. So who knows how he's going to respond? It's definitely the first time he's ever pitched at Dodger Stadium in the pros. And I don't remember hearing that he'd ever pitched, as a high schooler or college player. And it can be intimidating. It is a cathedral of baseball. It is one of the hallowed grounds of the great game that we all love so much. I did go by the Vin Scully Memorial kind of plaque out there in center field before the game and doffed my cap to Vin, thanking him for his instilling in all of us our love of Dodger baseball, as he did so brilliantly for so many years. And just happy to be a small part of the scene and the proceedings for Game 4 of a World Series. So I've seen a World Series game now, and it was fantastic. I had a really, really, really great time. Thank you for listening to me babble on and on about the adventure I had today. If you missed any part of this podcast, videocast, whatever you want to call it, you can always catch up with it on YouTube. The live streams stay archived there. You can rewind at the beginning. I don't know if Instagram lets you do that or if these streams evaporate from Instagram, but I do know a permanent copy is available on YouTube, Facebook. I think Twitch keeps the most recent past live stream that you did. LinkedIn, I think I'm broadcasting there too for whatever reason. I'm hopeful some people will see it and enjoy it and maybe join in with some chat some night. And Linktree/TV Colin Campbell is where you can find all the links to all of my various profiles. A Linktree. That's tr.ee/TV Colin Campbell. And like and subscribe, as the kids say. Like and subscribe. Gene says, good night. Let's go Dodgers. Gene, I'm not opposed to that. I am not opposed to let's go Dodgers. I'm okay with that. But also let's go Blue Jays. Let's make it a 7-game classic. Let's have a fun one. Let's have Shohei hit a 9th-inning home run in Game 7 and Vlade hit a 2-run homer to win it in the bottom of the 9th of Game 7. Let's have a Joe Carter moment. Let's make it happen. Let's get this World Series to classic level now because it's been fun so far. All right. Wrapping it up for tonight. Thanks again, everyone. I do appreciate your patience and staying with me through the late night hours. We ended up talking for about an hour and 16 minutes tonight, which is pretty good. Pretty good. I hope you felt like you got your money's worth. You know how they say you get what you pay for. What'd you pay for this? Nothing. All right. Have a good night, everyone, and I will catch up with you. Oh, Canada, indeed. Oh, Canada. Maybe I could sing Oh, Canada before Game 5. I'm available, as previously noted, to attend either Games 5, 6, or 7. Please contact me for sponsorship opportunities to send me to these major sporting events. Someone asked me today, are they comping you a ticket for the game or what? I was like, no. I'm not anybody. I'm less than nobody. Please. I did see some local news set up, though. I did see the ABC 7 set up, the Fox set up. I think I saw Channel 5 set up. Didn't see the duopoly or NBC Uni represented, but what are you going to do? Those are the two stations with which I have the closest ties. I'm surprised Kim Baldonado has not rushed back onto the air. Maybe she has, and I haven't seen it because I haven't watched local TV news since I got out of it. Sorry, I just don't. I don't. Kim was always great about getting assigned to Dodger games. I remember that was my favorite part of Kim. I have a lot of favorite parts of Kim. She was great, great coworker, really fun, really positive. Worked with her on the weekends for a long time. And yeah, she was always opening day and let's go to our Kim Baldonado who's at Dodger Stadium. I'm like, oh yes, of course. Managed to swing that Dodger assignment yet again. I wonder who is giving her those assignments, Gene. Any comment about that? We'll see. I'll take you because there's a little time delay between when I'm talking and when you're typing. I'll take my answer off the air. But please leave a comment if you know the secret of how one reporter continually got assigned to games at Dodger Stadium. It's a good gig. I'm not going to lie. I mean, if I could swing that, I'd totally swing it. You know, maybe one night I will tell you the story of the time I had the KCAL press pass in 1996 or 7 and got to go to Dodger Stadium on the full media access press pass. Good stuff. Really fun. So, all right. That's it. Cue the music. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. The next one. Peace.